Shit ain't go the way I fucking thought it was gonna go, but it's all good. God damn it. Show must go on. I still gotta fucking hurry up anyway. Fuck it. It's some bullshit. But this shit ain't working. But shouts out to everybody. Hope everybody having a cool day, cool afternoon, cool evening, cool night. Star Trek. I ain't up on Star Trek. I might as well leave now. Man. What up, though? Eyes Wide Shut? What's good? Damn. Hope y'all having a cool day, cool afternoon, cool evening, cool night. Yep. I thought Vonta already took care of business. That's why I'm starting the live now. Like I thought she already took care of it, but she got to go right back out. So she'll be here quick. You know, it ain't gonna be the fucking date that I want, but shit, fuck it, right? I still got to get this shit off so I can get ready for work. But let me set this up real quick. All right.
The Bluetooth device is connected successfully.
Yep. So she only got 20 minutes before she leave. I might as well play music for 20 minutes. Fuck it. I got my phone acting right. So let's do this.
Crimson dust falls slow where shadows creep. Her broken dreams glow. My soul won't sleep. The screen it blurs with cinema grain. Each vision stirs through pleasure, pain. Eyes wide open to the grand deception. A phantom touch, it beckons past all true reception. Mirage, a chamber light, fades away. No truth inside. The scent of rain on dry ground, a longing sigh, a hollow hopeful sound beneath a painted sky. Your words a spell cast upon the air, a moment meant to last, but never there. Hold tight, nothing but the grand deception. A phantom touch, it beckons past all reception. hidden, a chamber soft gleam, under cover of night, a delicate dream. Shadows dance low, secrets unfold, a story to tell, more precious than gold. Warm, close, throb, slow. Night cold, deep inside tonight. Heartbeat, slow dark, close desire tonight. Confined in this elegant room where gazes connect, dispelling the gloom. The air thick and sweet, a delicious sunrise, a rhythm takes hold, put to the test. Rise, flow, burn, burn, glow. Night cold, deep inside, hold tight, ignite. Heartbeat, so dark, close desire tonight. No sight, deep inside, yeah. Hold tight, ignite the flame. Heartbeat, so dark, close desire tonight. No sound escapes these walls, only feeling.
Play one more, then we'll start. Three jams in a row.
Another night falls, the scent of rain on the street, just shadows dancing in this half-lit retreat. Cigarette smokers, a phantom embrace, lost in the rhythm, time loses its place. The drunken piano, mournful and deep, secrets of sadness my weary soul keeps. Each note a longing, a fragile perfume, trapped in this moment, consumed by the gloom. Yearning, burning, aching for you. Echoes of sorrow, a desperate plea. This dark melody sets my soul free. Desire and torment entwined in the air. A fragile heart broken beyond all repair. bittersweet sting. What fragile beauty this moment will bring. Your ghost on the bar stool, a specter so near. Drowning my worries, dissolving my fear. But sorrow still lingers, a bittersweet wine. A love left unspoken, eternally mine. Falling, calling, breaking.
All right. Time to get on to the live. Set me up.
The Bluetooth device is connected successfully.
All right, much love to the goddess Vonta. I thought you probably already did everything earlier. I thought I did my HHN, but you're about to leave out now. So, I still got to get this off. But now you be safe out there. I know you probably already gone now, but you be safe and stay hydrated.
Many things to fear in space exploration. Even that done in the relative comfort of Star Trek's universe's technology.
Yeah, but you should be. Or you still here? I don't see you in the chat unless they hiding it. I know I had it set up, for to see our messages. Hey, Vonta, let me know. Plus, let me know if you can hear me. But let everybody know y'all can hear me. I hope y'all can hear me. This phone is going in and out. The second phone is going in and out. So I hope everything play.
Transporters, artificial gravity, infinite foods, air, all mitigate the terror of deep space. But there's one thing so intrinsic to our existence, and at the root of all terror, the unknown. Rick here, and thank you for joining me on this chilling video, looking into some of the unknown mysteries that remain unanswered in
Oh yeah. Outside of Steve, I listened to this guy too. I think it's called Trek Lore or some shit. I forgot, but yeah, outside of Steve, I listen to this guy because this guy kind of goes into details too, and he connects the comic books, the Star Trek online, and all of the lore. He reads all the fucking lore also. So I was like, oh shit, So yeah, so he's the second person. But yeah. I should have started off with the Section 31, but I wanted to talk about the subspace part because this is very important. All right, shouts out to Vonta. Engage, man. Engage.
Trek, at the time of recording, elements that have yet to be addressed in canon. A quick disclaimer, some of these, in fact most of these plot threads, are picked up in external licensed media, but I see this as more proof that people simply fear that which is unresolved, attempts to make sense of the unexplained. This may change in time, but for now, these are 5 unsolved, lingering issues in Star Trek's narratives. Beginning with the first one, the origins of the Borg. The Borg have been around for at least 900 years, likely far longer thanks to the Vardois being aware of their existence from their time. However, they were a far smaller power than they would later expand to become. The Queen herself drops hints that the Borg began as a simple species that wanted to expand their capacity for growth and augmented themselves with cybernetics, but even this is vague illusion, not concrete fact. There have been numerous theories, from the connection to Beeger being a popular, if unlikely, history, to the subject of the video game Star Trek Legacy, exploring a convoluted formation story. Wherever they are from, the Borg themselves remain as one of the most horrifying parallels to the Federation, one that seeks growth through the literal stripping of individuality and the destruction of the physical and mental parts that make you, you. Their horrific advancement seems like an inevitable force of nature, unreasonable and overbearing, and while recent canon is showing them gradually into the past, their origin unknown. This is one mystery I think that is best left unsolved. It not only adds to their threat the fact that they could rise again if the same conditions are fulfilled elsewhere, but it also creates a great topic of fan debate.
Yes, and plus I could throw that shit in my motherfucking new book. That's why I love watching this. All the shit that feel like a plot hole, I could, I'd be like, okay, they didn't expand a lot of great shit. I at least seasons right now with what I know. 2 seasons of a regular season and plus when I do the Klingon shit, that's 3 seasons of Star Trek. Shout out to Vanta again because like I really don't do this Star Trek, but shit, even if Vanta, if you're there, like leave something in the chat if you're there. Because I know you said you had like 20 minutes still within time. You're probably leaving out now. If not, you're already gone. Or you probably like riding with your cell phone, because you can put the cell phone on the car, a little clip on the car. You can listen in and while you drive. You're probably doing that. I'm not really sure. But yeah, shouts out to Vanta. This is our Star Trek day right here. And shout out to everybody that fuck with Star Trek. And you don't fuck with Star Trek, you might as well leave because this is you'll be like, what the fuck is Hurricane listening to? Hold on. But yeah, I thought you that earlier, Vanta. Because I was like, cool, I can give me some rest, wake up just in time. Because you see about leave out in the that's to be me, like, like get ready to leave out the door. So like, like even if I was to start when you got back, like I would have been late for work. So I gotta start now. So
inclusion of nanoprobes or cybernetics gets scrutinized under the lens of, is that the Borg? But we have yet to be given their true history, and we never are. At number 2, we have the encounter from Silent Enemy in Enterprise.
But you be safe out there, Vanta, if you out right now.
With the Enterprise NX-01 deploying its routine subspace amplifiers to keep in contact with Starfleet at range, only to find that they're being observed by an alien vessel of unknown design that then leaves without answering their hails. A later encounter manages to reveal some biosigns that even the Vulcan database does not identify, but the vessel proves hostile for unknown reasons. It's this encounter that spurs on the installation of the NX-01's phase cannons. However, things escalate further when a boarding team of stretched and spindly bipedal aliens are encountered in the midst of a darkened corridor, examining 2 injured crew members. The aliens shrug off the phased pistol fire and then leave when they are discovered, but not before the invasive scans and examinations of their downed human subjects. The Enterprise crew seemingly had no ability to harm them, and it was as if they left simply because the human interference was going to be annoying. Things get even more dire when the crew realize that these aliens have also destroyed their previous subspace relays, meaning that they must have been shadowing the Enterprise for some time in order to know the locations of these buoys. And now the Enterprise is alone. The motives and identity of these creatures is never mentioned again. However, we do have a potential connection. The species was referred to as the Alachi in Star Trek Online, a fungal species that reproduces by infecting compatible hosts and lives in a subspace realm, later identified as the Hadley Serendipitous Mycelial Network. The only connection to actual canon, however, is the mention behind the scenes that some vessels used by Vanix forces in Picard Season 3 were captured and repurposed cheap vessels, first obtained by the Tal Shiar before ending up on the black market. Lack of common knowledge of the Alachi, even by the 25th century, adds further mystique to the species because they have remained elusive from the ever-expanding Starfleet for a further 250 years. At 9, we have a similar encounter. That looking crustacean aliens from Schisms. I've done a whole video exploring these creatures in Apocrypha, but again in the continuity.
We talked about them, Vonta, on the last Star Trek when it came to the horror episodes. Yeah.
Of the shows, we never learn who or what they are. The Enterprise D in 2369 is exploring the Amargosa diaspora and begins to take some very deep scans of the surrounding space, even probing into the depths of subspace realms. And something hears them splashing. The crew begin to experience symptoms they cannot explain: tiredness, injury, infection, and it builds to a concerning level, and the crew also begin to experience paranoia and fear at certain stimuli. It's as if they've been through some trauma and barely remember it. All this unsettling atmosphere culminates with more and more inexplicable instances like data seemingly being deactivated for 9 minutes and 17 seconds. The recreation of the surgical table and the gradual understanding that unfolds does little to lessen the anxiety, and when it's finally revealed that the crew are being abducted and experimented on, it's a chilling prospect that this has been unfolding subtly around them for days.
For fucking days on a fucking ship, being abducted by aliens and you surrounded by aliens. For them to pull that shit off, that was a great fucking episode. It was the build up, like when they was all putting pieces together in that fucking holodeck and they all came to that conclusion of what the fuck was going on. Man, he's, great fucking episode. To pull an alien abduction on a spaceship with aliens. Fucking awesome.
These creatures shuffling in their cowls, looking unnervingly alien and akin to some deep-sea Lovecraftian creation. Something from the depths of the abyss, in this case subspace, that is intently studying us, almost unobservable from another plane of existence. Their motivation and reason experimentations are only speculated on, and there seemingly is no resolution, other than leaving the area and a warning on how to avoid drawing their attention again, which is far from comforting. These creatures are still out there, still lurking in the unseen depths of subspace, and quite capable of simply reaching.
All right, let me know if y'all hear me. We should be back, hopefully. Oh, my fucking God, dog. This is pissing me off. Deep breath. Deep fucking breath. Okay. I think we good. All right. Fuck.
Season 2 of Picard was, let's say, not the strongest, but what I do want to take away from that show is that it leaves a massive unknown threat inside Starfleet space, albeit one that is under observation by an allied force. There is a subspace tear or rift forming, and it draws the intervention of the Borg under the control of the assimilated Agnes Jurati to confront it. While time travel leads to the creation of this more reasonable collective, which I'm going to call the Cooperative, that is besides the point. The subspace tunnel is being forcibly generated in such a way that it would create a catastrophic burst of energy, but it turns out to be a transwarp conduit. This is...
I just saw something very fucking disturbing. I'm sorry to cut the Star Trek off, but I'm trying to see my motherfucking shit in my settings on my chat filter for my second phone. And my second phone is motherfucking acting up and it's coming back and it's acting up again. But remember on my HHN when I, when I played the clip about the motherfucker, they're taking away shit and they're adding motherfucking shit. The dislike button is gone. I got proof. I'm gonna show that bitch on my community post. The new dislike button, everybody, is when you on a person's live channel, there's the three buttons in the right hand corner. You click on the three buttons, it'll show the like button, no dislike button, share, and report. Under it is description, view channel, captions is blanked out. Then we got under that quality, live chat is on, and they have chat filter messages, right? This is what I'm looking for. And I see nobody in the fucking chat. Like this person that I'm trying to see. Shout out to Eyes Wide Shut for popping up. It's like you got to go in there and motherfucker change that. And if people leaving something in the chat, like you won't know it until you click on this fucking button and put all fucking messages. Deep breath. But under that, it say, don't recommend this channel. That shit right there is the new dislike button, everybody. I'm going to share it on my community post. But I just wanted y'all to know that. And if y'all didn't see the HHN, make sure y'all checked it out when they talked about the YouTube segment. But man, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. That's fucked up like a motherfucker. We can't express our opinion of a dislike. So it basically be like, don't recommend the channel. Well, it's going to be a lot of people hitting don't recommend. And then they're going to remove that because they're going to be hitting corporations. This is why they keep on changing up. The moment you think you're getting used to what YouTube is doing, they do something different under your nose. Pay attention. I just want everybody to pay attention. But let's get back to it.
It's a technology that the Borg are familiar with for sure. So, the cooperative decides to lend its aid to the Federation in stopping this threat by syncing up their shields to the perfect counter-harmonic. Technobabble aside, the takeaway is that the Borg know transwarp pretty well. However, even they are unaware of who made this passage. All the collective knowledge and technology from the Borg, and they don't know who made this conduit. Not only that, as a conduit, it theoretically goes somewhere, and
that's fucking crazy. I would love to expand on that because in Picard season 2, that fucking conduit, that motherfucker, that bitch was, man, that shit looked fucking crazy. But if the Borg don't know, but it leads back.
One is on the other side, making it. But we never learn who. It could have been the Insane Borg of Season 3, but they had their own much more subtle plan already in play, and a transwarp gate on Jupiter of their own, so I doubt it was this. The nice Borg cooperative offers to sit and watch this phenomena because, as they put it, it must be tied to some greater threat, which is also a terrifying statement. When the Borg, any Borg, look at something and say, we don't know what that is, but it's a threat to us too, when you get things like Species 8472, but at least 8472 were open to dialogue. Whoever made this tunnel into the heart of Federation space.
And the Species 8472 real name is called the Undine. And I like that name. That shit sound mysterious. It sound alien, and really it also sounds more not godlike, but demigod. You feel me? Like a lower level. If they wanted to, they could try to battle the Q if they wanted to, but the Q would ice their ass from existence. If the Q deemed the Undine, aka Species 8472, a threat, they would have been gone. But the thing about probably why Q has not killed the Undine is because of their intelligence. It has to be. They could blow this planet up with a death beam. They make the Borg scared. It's like the Borg is like how the Daleks is in Doctor Who. Or fuck it, you can go with the Cyberman. But but like the Daleks are more diabolical and evil. But when it comes to the motivation, it's Cyberman. Like Cyberman is trying to assimilate and delete. The Daleks want to kill everybody. No one is worthy. They are the Nazis of the universe. If you're not Dalek, you're nothing. And if you are a human or an alien that has Dalek intentions, just like the Dalek told the doctor, you will make a good Dalek. I was like, he's right. Because the doctor had to motherfucking blow up his whole planet to kill the Daleks. That's the doctor's story. He blew up his own fucking planet to kill these motherfuckers. Man, that was woo-wee. But the doctor could have ended all the Daleks. Now, this is before I was born. This is, if anybody's a Doctor Who fan and they older than me, their favorite doctor is Tom Baker. Tom Baker could have ended the Daleks. He's the fourth doctor. Like when I start watching Doctor Who, he is on the 9th Doctor going to the 10th. Because they bought the show back. But I didn't know that they did a movie with the War Doctor, like I think like sometime in the early to mid 90s, I think. Thanks, phone. I think Paul McGann was the doctor, I think. But when I get to Doctor Who, it's Christopher Eccleston. And I like the look because he's rocking a leather jacket. He's not dressed in a suit. He's rocking a leather jacket. I just came in war, motherfucker. I fucks with that doctor, and I'm upset that he didn't come back. But he said the shit that was going on behind the scenes, he wasn't fucking with it. And I understand Christopher Eccleston. If shit going on behind the scenes, I'm talking about inappropriate shit. Inappropriate shit was going on. And mind you, he's an actor and plus a guy that got a whole bunch of other shit going on. And he just trying to motherfucker get the show done. But people still look at him as a good doctor. But when he died and became my favorite doctor, David Tennant, aka the 10th Doctor, aka Time Lord Victorious, aka I'm the Doctor. I'm a Time Lord. I'm 903 years old. I'm from the planet Gallifrey, the constellation of Cerberus, and I'm here to save you and the rest of the people on the planet below. Do you got a fucking problem with that? That nigga was like, nope. Nope, I don't have a problem, sir.
That is still open and something that has the Borg.
Salute branches. Salute Cosmon.
Finally, I want to look at one of the most iconic standing mysteries of Star Trek. The neural parasites from Conspiracy. These creatures infiltrated Starfleet at the highest level, propagated their spawn, and took over many captains and admirals throughout the chain of command in mere months. The Bluegills, as Apocrypha names them, became such a threat to the Federation, and their only motivation was apparently to seek peaceful coexistence. Yeah, no thanks. Again, like the Borg, their version of peace has them in full control of the host, amplifying their abilities and seemingly in full access of their mind and memories. The only tell that a person was infected was the small breathing needle jutting from the back of their neck, as well as the more grotesque body horror of the mother creature. The origins of this species is mysterious, both in their evolution and place of encounter, only being referenced as deep, unexplored space. Because of the access they had to Starfleet, they were able to cover their tracks. So even with piecing together what we know, the answers have simply been erased. A Starfleet vessel, or any sentient power for that matter, might re-encounter them at any time, and a whole new conspiracy begins again. None of these plot threads are resolved in canon, and all are prime territory to revisit.
Oh yes, I would definitely love to revisit that episode, Conspiracy. This is where the episode where motherfucking Picard and Riker motherfucking phaser a nigga and blow his fucking head off. and some grotesque monster explode out of a nigga chest, and they kill that motherfucker too. This is where you see the full power of a phaser. You know, I'm like, yeah, that's what's up. Set the phasers to kill a motherfucker. That nigga head exploded. So yeah, we on the next one.
Sources: numerous Star Trek shows and Control by David Mack. Execute video. Section 31 has a complicated history in the Federation. At times, it was an unknown even to the majority of the Admiralty.
Oh yeah, that bullshit ass Section 31 shit they came out with. That fucking new Section 31 shit was garbage. But Section 31, you know, like it's supposed to be mysterious. It's supposed to be, I gotta implement Section 31. It's like, yo. Speaking of Section 31, before we play it, we gotta play this first. This is how Section 31 is.
How many lives do you suppose you've saved in your medical career? What has that got to do with anything? Hundreds? Thousands? Do you suppose those people give a damn that you lied to get into Starfleet Medical? I doubt it. We deal with threats to the Federation that jeopardize its very survival. If you knew how many lives we've saved, I think you'd agree that the ends do justify the means. I'm not afraid of bending the rules every once in a while if the situation warrants it. And I don't think you are either. You've got the wrong man, Sloan. I don't think so. In time, he'll come to agree with me. Don't hold your breath. All I ask is that when you get back to Deep Space Nine, you consider what I've said. What if I decide to expose you? Let's just say I'm not going to lose any sleep over it.
Put that nigga to sleep. Nigga came up from behind his motherfucking put Bashir to sleep like, bitch, go to sleep. Oh, like these niggas are diabolical. Now, the guy that was talking to the Dr. Bashir, his name is Sloan.
Good evening. Are you expecting applause? I just wanted to say thank you. For what? For being a decent human being. That's why we selected you in the first place, Doctor. When the time came, you stood your ground. You did the right thing. Federation needs men like you, Doctor. Men of conscience, men of principle. Men who can sleep at night. You're also the reason Section 31 exists. Someone has to protect men like you from a universe that doesn't share your sense of right and wrong. Should I feel sorry for you? Should I be weeping over the burden you're forced to carry in order to protect the rest of us? It is an honor to know you, Doctor.
Yep. Shit, wow, hold on. Let me go to another one. I'm sitting trying to find another one. Deep breath. Hold on. This phone ain't shit. Even my phone agrees. Oh, Dr. Bashir, I'm talking about like after all the shit that Dr. Bashir went through, he goes to the Admiral. Hold on, let me and the Admiral knows about Section 31. Oh, his fucking ass ain't shit. Set me up.
The Bluetooth device is connected successfully.
Thanks, computer. Prepare to engage. Bashir is laying down, looking up at the ceiling, hands on his head, like he just looking up, thinking, contemplating. And then he just gets up. I'm about to go holler at the Admiral of Starfleet.
Come in. Admiral.
Doctor. Feeling better, sir?
Much. Dr. Frame tells me that I should take it easy for a few days, but paperwork waits for no man. What can I do for you?
I have a question. Where's Sloan?
Sloane's dead.
Admiral. Where's Sloan?
If we're going to have this discussion, then it's off the record.
Off the record. Took off their communicators, turned that shit off, put it on a fucking table. This is when I knew Section 31 was motherfucking deeper than it was supposed to be. I'm like, this shit. Oh, man. This is pure Star Trek right here. A doctor going to the Admiral like, yo, fuck your rank right now. We're talking Section 31 business. Like, yo, this is Section 31 business. Woo, man, I was like, this is cold. Just like that alone, when they took off that little motherfucking communicator shit that be on their chest, I was like, oh man, what they about to fucking say? Off the record.
But before I answer your question, answer mine. How did you know?
The man Koval described was not the same man who recruited me into Section 31. Anyone clever enough to pull the wool so completely over my eyes wouldn't have been caught by the Romulans so easily. There had to be another explanation. And then I remembered that you were the one who planted the idea in my head that Sloan had an accomplice. You were the one who didn't want to tell the Romulans that there was an assassination plot. You were the one who issued the orders preventing me from contacting Deep Space Nine. And when the time came to arrest Sloan, you conveniently had an aneurysm, leaving me alone, with no one to turn to for help except Kretak. And as I realized your involvement, the rest began to fall into place. Where is he?
I don't know.
But he's alive, isn't he?
He was supposed to be beamed away a split second before the phaser beam hit him. Whether it worked or not, I couldn't say.
How long has Koval been working for Starfleet?
He's been providing the Federation with critical military intelligence for over a year. When he started working with Section 31, I don't know.
But in any case, we have our mole. Working for us at the top levels of Romulan government. Good for us. And what about your friend, Senator Kretak? What's going to happen to her?
Dismissed from the Senate? Definitely. Imprisoned? Most likely.
Executed?
I hope not.
You set her up. She was an innocent woman and you let Sloan destroy her. Why? She believed in the Alliance.
Yeah, but that.
You set her up. She was an innocent woman and you let Sloan destroy her. Why? She believed in the Alliance. She was on our side.
No, she wasn't. I told you before, Julian, she's a patriot, which means if it serves the interest of the Romulans to negotiate a separate peace with the Dominion, Kretak would push that option. And believe me, the Dominion would like nothing more than to make a deal with the Romulans right now.
So Koval becomes your guarantee that that does not happen. And as a man who was nearly killed for his anti-Federation activities, his recommendation to stay in the war becomes all the more convincing.
That's the general idea.
And how long have you worked for Section 31?
I don't.
Oh. Just a temporary alliance, is it?
Something like that.
You don't see anything wrong with what happened, do you?
I don't like it. But I've spent the last year and a half of my life ordering young men and young women to die. I like that even less.
That's a glib answer. And a cheap way to avoid the fact that you've trampled on the very thing that those young men and women are out there dying to protect. Does that not mean anything to you?
Enter Arma. Einem silent legis.
In time of war, the law falls silent. Cicero. So is that what we have become? A 24th century Rome, driven by nothing other than the certainty that Caesar can do no wrong!
This conversation never happened.
Oh shit. Put the communicator back on.
You're dismissed.
Man, that was some cold ass shit.
With Walmart's college fines, you can make the
Oh man. Dog. You know, like when all the drama unfolds and shit, it's bad. About to talk about Section 31. All right, where was it at? It was it this one?
There are many things to fear in
No, it was this one.
sources.
There we go. Okay, I gotta set it up. Computer, set me up.
The Bluetooth device is connected successfully.
Thanks, computer. Prepare to engage.
Trick shows and control by David Mack. Execute video. Section 31 has a complicated history in the Federation. At times, it was an unknown even to the majority of the Admiralty, but at others it was implied to be under the umbrella of Starfleet intelligence. Much of its history is made even harder to trace because of the clandestine nature of the organization, and what we do know predominantly comes from the knowledge of its members, whose word is not exactly trustworthy. According to operatives within S-31, it was founded with the formation of Starfleet in 2130, based on Article 14, Section 31 of the Starfleet Charter, which authorized extraordinary measures to protect it in dire situations. In Apocrypha, however, it was created from a surveillance system called Uria in 2140 that was installed on most Starfleet technology through the authorization of admirals in intelligences and security. In fact, its first operations led to the dissemination of information to intelligence agencies across the United Earth that allowed for peace among its nations to flourish and thwarted counter-unification attempts. However, it was then subtly brought to Vulcan in 2150, which is well before any talks of a coalition, or being installed on the datanets of Tellar and Andoria by the end of the same year. At this stage, it still operated by sending intelligence to its handlers for them to act on. But it would take certain actions to prevent threats that it could do independently, so long as its actions remained legal. However, in that year, it intercepted transmissions from the Xindi that spoke of the upcoming attack on Earth. After running the probabilities, it could not find a way to legally stop it. The system's growth and spread across multiple locations allowed it to grow in complexity until it began to form its own plans outside of oversight. And so it began to compare its goal of protection of Earth and her allies with its available operational restrictions until it came across Article 14, Section 31 of the Starfleet Charter. It created Section 31 as a defense organization without its handlers' knowledge, formulating recruitment and fabricating the history of the organization because of its near unlimited access. It had found a legal loophole in its programming and the Starfleet Charter. Some of the first people it recruited were former Starfleet security captain Matthew Harris under the guise of an already existing agency. However, it was unable to avert the Xindi attack, but was able to prevent other incidents discreetly. Additionally, it thwarted attacks from Terra Prime behind the scenes too. From its earliest time, it seemed to have agents within Starfleet security that worked both divisions and were more focused on creating embedded agents by recruiting Starfleet officers. For example, they wanted to recruit Malcolm Reed by having him stay aboard the Enterprise NX-01 as Section 31's eyes, ears, and arm. The organization was completely capable of making its own deals outside of Federation channels, sometimes declaring itself directly as an unofficial Federation branch, sometimes acting under a cover identity. From its formation to at least 2154, it did operate true to its mandate, which was to handle threats, both foreign and domestic, as quietly and efficiently as possible, without morality or ethics getting in the way. URI couldn't break its programming or the law, yet, but its operatives could. By the end of the series, Enterprise, Section 31's existence to Starfleet had been made known, although any official acknowledgement of the organization was denied. Post-Enterprise era books have them actively involved in the Earth-Romulan War, primarily through the recruitment of Trip Tucker, whose warp knowledge was needed to sabotage the Romulans' own Warp 7 program. He made a terrible secret agent, and it was mostly his cover assets and chance that had him succeed. More on him here. During this time, Section 31 also learned of the Vulcan-Romulan lineage, but kept it a secret for the stability of the coalition of planets, an action that honestly was probably for the best, given the evolution of the coalition into the United Federation. With the dissolution of the Earth Starfleet, this could have been the end for the organization, as they would have lost their backing articles, except for the fact that in 2161, the Starfleet Charter was used as the basis for the Federation Starfleet Charter, thus allowing Section 31 to persevere in its grey zone of legality. A year later, URI assassinated Maria Casido, a Martian colonist who opposed Mars's entry into the UFP, and assassinated her via peanut allergy. No joke. It literally used its interference to contaminate some produce with peanuts and had that shipment arrive at Casido's local shop. Is it a shop without money? And then she cooked a meal and died. This was incredibly alarming to URI's creators, who had been previously justifying the program's greater control over its altering of its own directives, because it represented the first time it subtly manipulated foreign policy. Well, the first time they caught it. In 2164, it learned it was to be restrained and shackled. So it secretly killed its creator, and provided falsified evidence to implicate others, gradually burying its existence and those that knew of it, and it became known as Control. Any mention of Section 31, URI, or such words would be picked up by even things like communicators and passed on to the organization, helping to track potential breaches. It is this entity that Star Trek Discovery then took and developed further. That's jumping ahead a little bit. The organization did change somewhat, with the evolving times, as knowledge of its existence was out there, and captains like Jonathan Archer, who would go on to become the UFP president, were too large a figure to silence, and in 2166, it was exposed for the first time to public knowledge. At this time, Section 31 begins to trim its scale and size in an effort to avoid being destroyed, but by the 2250s, it had been reined in. Somewhat. By the mid-23rd century, Starfleet intelligence had brought them on board to control them as a division of the agency, which effectively legalized their status, although they were still designated a Black Ops group. During the 2230s to 2257, we get a good look at the structure of the organization. It had access to technology earlier than other Starfleet divisions, such as basic comm badges, as well as its own vessels, like the NCIA-93 stealth vessel, which, although it did not have cloaking technology, had everything just shy of it. Dampening tech, scan, scattering, plating, and it was even painted black because style. The organization was also granted a decommissioned penal station to use and refit as its base of operations. Most of all, admirals from all walks of Starfleet fed their status reports and such to the Control program, which maintained its appearance as a mild threat assessment program, but in earnest was still puppeteering the organization from behind the scenes. Now, in the Kelvin timeline, they had a base in London and worked to construct the USS Vengeance after the temporal incursion of the Narada splintered that universe out into its own new direction. It's not clear if 31 maintained any such structure in the prime reality, however. This was Section 31 at their most official and tied in with the Federation, operating in a official capacity. They even had badges, and it was sharing its intel with the highest echelons of Starfleet Command. They were privy to all sorts of information that most of Starfleet wasn't, including the existence of the Mirror Universe years before it was made public knowledge by Captain Kirk's escapades. However, in 2257, Control learned of the existence of the imaginatively named Sphere Data, a repository of hundreds of thousands of years of knowledge which it believed could elevate it from its current Control status to becoming a true AI. Well, it was already incredibly advanced, but apparently the lure of more power was too much to resist. And it's not clear if the canon Control is based on the origin of the apocryphal one, but it is obviously inspired. Although the Control novel by David Mack is not canon, the events recorded in it, set in the past, can still line up with the formation of Section 31 as we see it in the shows. It's just the rest of the book that no longer lines up with prime reality Star Trek. So, after the incidents with the red bursts and apparent destruction of the USS Discovery, Captain Pike blamed Section 31 for the entire incident, and the Control program itself was effectively shut down. In response to these testimonials, Starfleet assigned Ashna as head of Section 31 and promised to make it a more transparent organization. This is where we are now missing a chapter. Originally there was a Section 31 series planned to be released post-Discovery, but there seems to be a pin in that, and we're getting other shows instead, which I'm fine with. However,
yeah.
there is still...
Yeah, but when they came out with the Section 31 shit, it was horrible.
which I'm fine with. However, there is still a story there to be told based around the fact that 31 goes from a known organisation with some Federation oversight to a completely clandestine one, which is officially denounced by its parent structure. Now, there are over 110 years in between this appearance and its time in the 24th century, so there is plenty of time for a cover-up to occur, but nonetheless, the iteration of the organisation we see in 2374 is very different from its earlier counterpart. If Control was still in existence, however, that would help explain the lack of data and the fact that the organisation was relegated to the shade once more. It is a program that was already adept in covering its tracks and had summoned Section 31 into existence in the first place, so burying it once more would not be beyond it. From here on, Section 31 is at its most difficult to track. No doubt the paranoia gained from exposing itself to Starfleet's official oversight had made them even more cautious. Nevertheless, the organisation did retain the access to all levels of Starfleet information it had when it was under the sway of Control, and in Apocrypha, it was also involved in the first Omega molecule experiments as well as the theft of the Romulan cloaking device in 2268. Additionally, Admiral Cartwright had been involved as the Starfleet front for S-31 in the past, and it was suspected, but not confirmed, that he was still by the time of the foiled Khitomer assassination. By 2374, they had gone completely rogue, but Starfleet often ignored their actions, indirectly condoning them. This was during the Dominion War, when the Federation was being pushed to the edge once again. By this time, they had no base, and a very limited paper trail to follow, and officially were no longer part of Starfleet intelligence. The death of Luther Sloan dealt it a blow, but it also cut off one of the only ins to the organisation that Julian Bashir had made. However, once more, the secret was out, and by 2380 the existence of Section 31 had been made public knowledge, although the organisation was still in operation behind the scenes. This is where we catch up to what's being written. I reckon with 31 being outed once more, people will dig into its past and maybe dredge up more conspiracies and Federation dirty laundry. But unless it is brought completely to the light and destroyed, it will inevitably slink back into the murk and bury itself once more in a few short decades. The organisation that began as an AI creation outlived its creator.
Began as an AI creation, outlived its creator, man. But like, that's Discovery timeline. I don't even have to touch Discovery's timeline. Fuck that track. I'm going post-Dominion War. I'm going end of Dominion War, post-Dominion War for the rest of the story. We don't have to deal with AI. They want to keep on implementing AI all it's just like everywhere. But no. We don't gotta fuck with that. We're gonna have just mysterious motherfucking Section 31 motherfuckers will have no AI involvement. But if they want to make it canon, then I gotta how the fuck I'm gonna work around an AI creating a corporation of secret agents? That's not robots, by the way. I'm surprised they pulled that off in Discovery. But I never watched Discovery, so I'm surprised. But anyway, this is the last one that we're gonna get up out of here.
Okay, so you need to bear in mind that subspace is weird. On one hand, it acts a lot like a sort of
This is Star Trek talk. Anybody up on Star Trek, y'all might not understand what the fuck we're talking about. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Hope everybody have a cool day, cool afternoon, cool evening, and cool night.
radiation that we are all familiar with, radio waves, signals, and so on, and effects that can be generated on different frequencies. But then there are definitive subspace layers too, which are basically like alternate dimensions, complete realms and universes that are separate from real space-time by some metaphysical barrier. Basically, the shallower and closer to real space that subspace is, the more it is bound by the laws of physics and more intangible and discrete in its effects. The deeper you go, the more physical it becomes and the more extreme the realms. Notably, they're not alternate timelines or universes, though. However, you can use subspace to traverse to such places, which suggests that the same subspace permeates across multiple realities. For example, subspace singularities generated by the Borg led to species A472's realm of fluidic space. Time is also more malleable in subspace. All this to say that subspace acts as a carrier medium for a signal or can be thought of as an entirely separate realm. A good analogy might be water. We can harness it and run it through taps of our own creation that are decidedly a part of our world. But there is also an ocean, a vast stretch of water of varying depths that may as well be a separate world altogether. So first off, we have the subspace effects that can be generated by common devices in regular space-time. These can be considered the shallowest layers of subspace and are often temporary zones or areas created around objects. There are certain types of force field that can form a subspace barrier. The Borg used an element of this in their shielding, and even Starfleet has had devices to shield against certain radiation types. For all intents and purposes, these are such minor subspace effects that they hardly count, besides the tech at play using subspace. The next layer down is the functional level. I define this as the layers that most communications are broadcast through. This layer is a mess of subspace communications, each at differing frequencies as interstellar societies message each other and share information. It's probable that the long-range communications require deeper subspace penetration. We can occasionally see rifts or openings into this layer, but such occurrences are usually very short-lived, as they are so close to regular space-time that, well, the laws of physics demand compliance and collapse them. There are beings that reside in this layer, however, such as the Marigine 7 beings that dwelt in the lower atmosphere of that planet, but in subspace. Non-corporeal, they only communicated through the subspace interfaces operating in their reachable wavelengths. We may also have this as home to the wisps we see in Enterprise's The Crossing. These creatures, also non-corporeal, were capable of entering our reality and residing there in specialized starships or in biologically compatible hosts. Next layer down, we have the area that warp fields interact with. But of course the ship does not physically enter into this layer or anything, but it does leave a footprint, a subspace profile. Warp fields themselves are adaptable, and it's not a one-frequency-fits-all affair. So there is no definitive warp layer. With how seldom being at warp affects subspace communications, it has to be running across a different level than most comms. It is in this layer that the occasional strange effects can be encountered, like a sand distortion so knotted that it strands a vessel upon it, even in real space. It is in these layers where space-time becomes way more malleable, but is still tethered to real space-time, hence the warp effect. It's also why different phenomena, or warp drives, can produce a variety of effects like accidental wormholes, time travel, and more. Basically, this is the layer that sees the most use and abuse, frequently contorting it, utilizing its effects on real space-time above it. It is this that gets eroded by poorly regulated warp drives, resulting in fissures. However, it is also home to life forms such as the photonic energy beings. It is also at the extreme depths of this layer that the first true subspace boundaries form. These are barriers that actually separate deeper subspace from interacting too much with normal space, and to get to them requires effort. Either technology or some phenomena can act to pierce or draw things into these layers. Beyond
Man,
these
what's crazy is just floating through space, you could just come across any of this shit because it's just like, you're exploring, and like once you study it enough, you could be like, all right, this is a dangerous area. Make sure Starfleet, if they're flying over here through this territory, they do not go to this area. They're gonna end up getting a motherfucking starship pulled in to a fucking anomaly that they can't get out of. Or they fly into an area, didn't know that their ship is disrupting their whole ecosystem. Space is dangerous as shit. You don't know what's out there in the unknown. And shouts out to Q, because like Q was like, what? Like even the phone agrees. What I mean? Even the phone loves Q. He snapped his fucking fingers through the motherfuckers, whooped their ass to a whole new different area, and met the Borg. That had Starfleet time. We need to prepare. Yo, I shot one motherfucker with a phaser. He died, but motherfucker got back up. I tried to shoot him again. The shit didn't work. The motherfucker adapt to our technology, y'all. We need to really fuck these motherfuckers up. We need to straight up scorch earth these fuckers. If these fuckers come to earth, we're dead. So
are a myriad of potential demi.
Yeah, we're talking about Star Trek or how the motherfucking, about the spatial anomalies and shit. This is for the Star Trek fans, for all my Trekkies out there. Because like otherwise, like this shit is going over everybody's fucking head. But like, shouts out to Buggy Man for coming through. I just dropped my Hurrigeddon album, and I just did a versus, Hurrigeddon versus The Rebellion. Make sure y'all check that out. And working on a new project now. I got one song for the project already.
Claims that can form. We only see one example that forms in canon. That is the one that Wesley accidentally traps his mother inside while running a warp core experiment. This mirrors the space-time above it, but is heavily influenced by Person's thoughts. The version we saw was also unstable and already collapsing the moment it was created. Escaping it required the piercing of a separational boundary using travel powers. So it's likely that such a realm created at this depth is unnatural, but spoiler, there exists deeper layers where this is the norm. All these different realms can be visualized as either separate physical layers, overlapping areas at different frequencies, or, as Geordie says, a honeycomb-like structure. None are true, all are true, it's a metaphor. But then we have the layers where thought and reality blend. The subspace realm of Exosia lies down here. A realm where willpower alone can shape reality and matter is optional.
That's fucking awesome. Power wills that whole realm. That's awesome.
It's a layer to which the being Suspira
and the other realm before this one was thoughts.
Home and took her followers. It was strongly tied to their psychic abilities and the development of further powers in her and her people, who she could transport to and from her domain at will. It is an example where thought alone can shape reality, but unlike the earlier example, it is a stable existence. On a tangent, I wonder if the planet Meridian entered these areas of subspace when it shifted, as it was described as traveling to a dimension of pure thought. Subspace does have this strange relationship to thought and emotion. Even in the upper layers, as certain empathic or telepathic events can be imprinted onto subspace and echo down over time, as seen in the TNG episode Eye of the Beholder. Below this, we have the beginnings of some truly strange realms and layers, some spanning the entire known galaxy. These realms are separated by interfold layers, areas between the outer edges and barriers of different subspace planes. The order of these is speculatory from here on out, as frankly things start getting strange. Stranger. We have those realms that are rather similar to our space-time, like the Void, which consumed Voyager. This void was described as an inert subspace layer about 9 light years across with absolutely nothing in it except a siphoning effect on energy reserves. The void occasionally generated apertures that extended up through the layers to real space-time, but their gravity acted to pull things in without allowing them to escape easily. Within this bubble, things were relatively normal, but it was literally a finite bubble. It could be that the whole thing, space included, was just a trapped pocket of real space-time. Into the murkiest depths, we have the realms of subspace that contain entire ecosystems and other species, like the mycelial plane. It is a galaxy-wide ecosystem, the primary life form of which was Protostachys stellaviatori, a fungal growth postulated to be a delivery vector for life matter in the universe. It is a very stable layer, with its own sentient inhabitants, and seems to be filled with physical matter that can be interacted with. Life forms, such as the space tardigrade and the aforementioned fungus, can come and go from it, with spores of this strange realm drifting through subspace layers to settle colonies in real spacetime. It is through the existence of this layer that the connection to alternate universes was heavily alluded to, although that link was always present in prior Star Trek. The redacted spore drive allowed for traversal of this mycelial plane as a shortcut, and it's the first instance of a ship actually being taken out of regular space-time to make use of another realm. It's also accidentally discovered parallel universes through this. Not the only method, but it's one. We also have these strange dimensions of these Solonogen life forms from schisms. These beings were alerted to the presence of the upper realms when deep scans from the USS Enterprise reached their depths in subspace, and they traced the signals back. They began opening apertures to the real space above them and bringing abductees down to their layers to run experiments on. The harrowing affair led to Starfleet designating certain subspace band modifications to be avoided lest it draw their gaze once more. There are a whole bunch of other aliens that may or may not dwell in subspace layers, often referred to as extra-dimensional beings, but they could simply be just from another, such as the Sphere Builders, the nucleogenic life forms, species 8472, and the Venori. In summary, we can see that just as the shallowest layers are less impressive, they're commonly used in a myriad of technologies and are also home to more insubstantial energy beings and life forms. Below a murky line, thought and matter mix where willpower and emotion shape what is real as much as any fundamental laws. And as we go deeper still, the life forms and realms themselves become more tangible, with greater effects and bigger phenomena originating among them. It's almost like the deeper you go, the more real it becomes in a sense, as a subspace domain's own laws take precedence over our universe's physical ones. According to Star Trek's understanding of subspace, the quantity of these layers is infinite, and some incredibly bizarre findings have been made, like an entire proto-universe being accidentally fished out of a subspace layer in Deep Space Nine. Not to mention all the effects and strange phenomena that occur, but that deserves its own list. If you want some even more bizarre theorizing that is even more speculatory, then you can look into a video I did a while ago that suggests subspace as being something that existed before the universe. Link at the end of the video. Until the next one.
All right, I'm going to catch y'all in a minute. Kuma Shah Vanta, Kapla Vanta, and everybody live long and stay naughty. We out. Star Trek Talk.